back with another Path of Exile 2 video. Let's go for Monk build 2.5. Strength's 87, Dexterity is 156, Intelligence is 171. Level 90, not as high level as I'd like, and this is because of genuinely I got a new monitor, I got an OLED, so I've decided to play other games, and I've spent countless amount of hours on Path of Building rather than Path of Exile. Energy Shield 5,538, Life is 1, but remember we're talking Chaos Inoculation, so that means we're immune to Chaos damage. Mana's 901 and Spirit's 212. You could probably do with more Spirit if you want to. I can get 220 using Lead Me Through Grace, but it's not necessary. If you've got the currency, then go for obviously more Spirit, but if you haven't, then 210 is the right amount realistically. Evasion's 42. This is very low. It needs to be 75%. The reason it's low is because I don't have the currency for a better chest. Resistance are all at full. Okay, so 75, 75, 75. Like I say, we're immune to chaos resistance. Stuns, which is down here, I've got a lot of stun threshold. I'm immune to bleeding. And then I've got minus 55% chance of shock, and then minus 10% on all freeze and stuff like that. And movement speed is 34.8%, so 35% movement speed, which is due to the 35% boost. Right, let's move on to the skills, and I'll show you what's changed and answer a few questions that people have been asking. So, one question that someone's been asking is here, saying how do you have 10 when you should only have 9? And this is because on Skeletal Warrior, on my other weapon here, this anoints Skeletal Warrior minion. So that's how I get the 10 rather than the 9. So Quarterstaff Strike, this is just genuinely here. It's here in case I want to swap skills out and changing stuff around. Or if I do run out of mana, I can kind of use it if necessary, but quite a lot of the time it's just there for the sake of it. Pinpoint Critical for more critical hit chance. Heft for more physical damage. Momentum for moving 2 meters, you get 40% more damage. Hit and Run, so basically once you move 10 meters, you get 40% more skill speed, so that's faster. And then Close Combat for 25% more attack damage. I do use Overextend a couple of times, but I found with Overextend, it's good, but it's that crit that says like once it crits, it stops critting. And I found that Flicker Strike doesn't go on as long with Overextend, but maybe it's just me, but we'll try it, like I say, we'll see what happens. Stormwave, so Stormwave damage is low, and the reason why Stormwave's damage is low is because of Upheaval. But we've got Martial Tempo, Primal Armament, Ambush for more critical hit chance, Inspiration for just basically the cost, reduced cost, and then Upheaval. If you can support your mana, you can swap it for Lightning Infusion. Lightning Infusion gives it a very, very large amount of damage, especially if you remove Upheaval. But the reason I have Upheaval is because of this. Okay, when you do Upheaval, it splits it into 3, and if anyone's seen the video, it procs really, really well and creates a massive explosion of fire, ice, and lightning. Charge Staff is just there for extra damage. So we've got it with Culling Strike, Strip Away to apply any exposure, Persistence for more skill duration, Perpetual Charge for 35% chance not to remove the charges, Cold Exposure, this is just to inflict cold exposure on critical hits. We do a lot of critical hits. This up here constantly procs all the time, as well as this, as well as this, as well as this. You'll see in the video there's just stats across the top. The main move is Cast on Critical. So a lot of people have been asking about Profane Ritual and stuff like that. Profane Ritual is genuinely there to generate the corpses, the power charges from the corpses. So when you Flicker Strike or you use it, what happens is Profane Ritual will work, and then it will generate the charges as you flicker around or as you use a move. Frozen Locust, okay? Frozen Locust is very, very good, but it doesn't work like you think it would work. Okay, so Frozen Locust generates a crystal, you explode the crystal, and what happens is you get basically the explosion radius here, and you get some damage, and then the crystal causes chill ground and other effects. Okay, but Frozen Locust in Cast on Critical still works as if it was exploding the crystal, but it doesn't explode the crystal. So it gives me 50% more build up, it gives me an explosion radius, it gives me Quarterstaff cold damage, but it doesn't explode the crystal. It works so well, so well. And then if you pair this with Wind Dancer at the end, and you do it when Wind Wave strikes, what happens is you fly around the map. Once you're stopped, and you're in, like say you're in a group of ads, Wind Wave will activate and create a massive explosion. I was using it for a while, but I've changed to Cast on Freeze. Sniper's Mark's there for bosses. next to it against marked enemies, a 60% critical damage bonus. It's genuinely there just for bosses. Then we've got energy retention to basically keep the energy cost. And then we've got overabundance. This is just here for the 50% less skill effect. So it causes this to happen quicker. Infernal Cry. So Infernal Cry, we've got it level 10. The only reason it's level 10 is because I haven't got the strength cost to go any higher. But we've got Premeditation, which basically empowers the skill, so deal 15% more damage. Then we've got Raging Cry, which gains 4 rage per 5 power. So on bosses, you go up to like, I think it's 28 or 22 rage. And Second Wind, which gives you the chance to use it twice. And then Enraged Warcry, which consumes 10 rage to cause more damage. So I was looking around doing some hunting, some digging and stuff like that, and I found that, well, I already knew that if you use this and use this twice, so like that, that's giving you 45% more damage. But what happens then is it puts an ignite chance on an enemy up to a certain amount of damage. So as it says there, empowered damage as fire per 5 power, which is max of 150%. So what happens is when you hit a boss and you go to your max, which is about 140%, you get 140% damage on this from using it twice. Okay, so again you go bang, bang, which then would boost it by an extra 15%, which then would boost your damage by an extra 30%. So using this twice on a boss, effectively you're doing around about 185% more damage, which is a huge increase in damage. Okay, you think about Flicker Strike, this is what, at 27,000, you times that by 175% or 185%, it's an absolute ridiculous amount of damage it's increased. The only downside with it is you have to stand next to the boss and basically proc it twice. So sometimes some bosses attack really fast, and that, like I said, that is the downside. Then we go for Profane Ritual. Profane Ritual's got fast forward, arcane tempo, and corpse conservation. So basically this is just genuinely used to generate any power charges if I haven't got any yet. So if you're just running around, and to use this. So I generate the power charges, and then there you go. You get the power charges like this, up to 6. I think I have 6, yeah. I have a max of 6. I did have 7, but I removed it. Then I press F on mine for charge staff, which gives me charge staff for a minute. And then again, I'd use this. This is how I start a map. And then basically, swap back to my weapon, walk around, and I'm ready to Flicker Strike. Come near a group of enemies, flicker, and that's how it works. So sacrifice, that's so you can basically use the minions, and then you can sacrifice them and get the power charges. It works really well. Obviously, with using Sniper's Mark on here, Sniper's Mark will generate frenzy charges. You can, these are skill that you can, where it like takes frenzy charges, endurance charges, and power charges. But I found it was stealing power charges faster than I could keep them, so I removed it. Herald of Ash. So Herald of Ash is here with just Fire Mastery. This is just here because it creates an explosion with overkill damage. Overkill damage is very good, and that's what you'll see with them, these big fiery explosions. And how it works, I think it's 25% of the health. Yeah, and again, it gives you an extra 5% of overkill damage. So it's great. It is very good. Herald of Thunder. This I've been playing with for ages. Like if anyone looked at my first build, you'll see that I was running it all with like ice moves on it, because originally what used to happen is you would have Herald of Thunder with all ice in it and Herald of Ice with all thunder in it, and then them two would proc and chain off each other, and then it would cause like explosions everywhere. But they stopped that. GGG ruined all the fun and changed it into basically something not as good. It still works, okay? So with Ice Bite, which gives you the damage, Glaciation, which gives you more freeze build-up, Cold Infusion, again, which gives you more cold damage, and then Embitter, which basically means if you gain any other type as damage, you'll gain extra cold damage instead. This causes the lightning damage to effectively generate cold damage, okay? So, cast on freeze, we've got, it's 60 Spirit, obviously max socketed. We've got Voltaic Mark. Voltaic Mark will proc Herald of Thunder, because it'll create lightning chance, which then this will then freeze and then cause cast on freeze to proc, and then vice versa, which then will cause Herald of Ash to proc. If you want, you can put this to a 5 socket and put Immolation on here, which then causes Herald of Ash to proc even more. Or you can maybe put another unset ring in, run Herald of Ice, and put Immolation on there, and then cause all them to proc again, which you can create basically a triple Herald. Then we've got Innovate, which then gains lightning damage for killing a shocked enemy. So these shock, these proc. Okay, shock, proc, shock, proc. And then we've got Reach, which gives you more area of effect. Magnifying effect, again for more area effect. and then impetus, which is increased energy. So what happens is when you attack like this, okay, this calls down lightning storms, which then causes glaciation to freeze up, which then causes them to shatter, which causes Voltaic Mark to activate due to cast on freeze. Right, let's go into the gear. So we have my quarterstaff. I still need a critical damage bonus, but I can't afford. Okay, it's now 400 and something exalts, and I don't even have 400 and something exalts. This is just genuinely a quarterstaff with melee skills. Remember, Flicker Strike works really well with melee skills. Yes, I know it needs valing, but currently I don't have a different quarterstaff, so I'm not going to val it yet. But I've got cold damage. I've got 185% physical damage bonus, and then I've got accuracy, attack speed, and dexterity. You can get better ones. Get one with a crit chance, or if you can't afford one, get this. Okay, the Collapsing Horizon. I've said it before. This is the one that gives you the high critical hit chance, which then will cause you a Flicker Strike if you look at Flicker Strike's chances. So it lowers your damage by quite a bit, but my chance to crit is 100%. So I'll always crit. Then we have a helmet, which is pure energy shield, critical hit chance, intelligence, and cold resistance. Then I have a amulet, which gives me critical hit chance, critical damage bonus, attributes, and energy shield. I do have a better amulet, but I haven't got the attributes yet to run it. And I've allocated Subterfuge Mask. Subterfuge Mask gives me energy shield based off my helmet, or sorry, evasion based off my helmet. This is because when I run evasion and energy shield chest, I don't get the high enough energy shield for it. Then we've got the unset ring. The unset ring is obviously to give you the extra modifier. I've got it with just flat damage and resistances. That's all you really need. And then I've got a prismatic ring with, again, flat damage, a bit of cold, and then resistances, and a bit of mana regen. You probably better get yourself a breach ring. Try and find a breach ring with resistances, flat damage, and mana leech. If you do that, you can get some gloves that your leech is instant on your mana, so you're instantly getting mana back. There's no delay. And you can also get some gloves, physical damage as life. You can even get them. They're perfectly fine. Then we have, like I say, my chest armor, which is 903 energy shield. You can get higher ones. There's ones with energy shield over 1,000. My hands have got evasion and energy shield, levels 2 melee skills, resistances, and damage of mana. So they're pretty good. And then we've anointed the Boar Talisman, which gives me 1 rage and melee hit. And then I val them to give me 10% increased quantity of gold dropped by slain monsters, but still, that's how many times I've respec'd and changed stuff around. I've got 583 gold. We are using the Ingenuity belt. It's not required, okay? Genuinely not required. I have a belt up here that has all the resistances, and then again, look at my damage. Doesn't matter, okay? It's not as good as you think. And my resistances go really high with that belt, okay? It's just there for a little bit of damage, that's all. Like I say, get yourself a normal belt with some resistances on it. And then boots. We've got boots with movement speed, 35%, and then resistances. Then we have these boots down here, the Power Tread boots. These give you 12% critical damage bonus per power charge. So what I do is when you go and fight Zesh, basically swap them over. And once you get your power charges, and it gives you 1, so you've got 7 power charges, 12%. Okay, so 7 times 12% is 84%. So you've got an 84% critical damage bonus on your power charges. Pair this with Sniper's Mark, which gives you extra critical damage bonus. Pair this with all your other stuff, and you do a lot of damage. Right, let's go on to the passives. So, we've got Lead Me Through Grace, again for energy shield and evasion. I'm the Blizzard, I'm the Thunder, and Sunder My Enemies. This is pretty much the staple of Monk build. It seems to be the best one. You can probably run a Bound Avatar, but I personally don't like it. It's good, but it's not amazing. Then we come up this side and take Flow Like Water for attack, speed, and dexterity and intelligence. Mindful Awareness for evasion and energy shield. Step Like the Mist for movement speed and mana regen. And then Round to get Crashing Wave for damage if you've dealt a critical hit in the past 8 seconds. Then we get Moment of Truth for damage if you've not dealt a critical hit. As I said multiple times. Okay, these are chance that you won't deal a critical hit. So therefore, if you've not dealt a critical hit, you're still going to get damage bonus. Then we come around the left to get Power Within, which gives us 20% critical damage bonus if you've gained a power charge, plus 1 to power charges. Okay, so there's a 60% increase there, and an extra power charge. Then Round to get 25% critical hit chance on critical exploit, and then Round again to get Insightfulness, which is maximum energy shield, mana regen, and intelligence increases. Melding, which is 40% maximum energy shield, but it reduces your mana. It's only 10%, so like for me, it's only, 99. Then we come through the middle, and we go up to the top and get Deadly Force, which is critical hit chance in the past 8 seconds. So, and sorry, if you dealt a critical hit in the past 8 seconds. Then follow Jugular, which gives you more critical damage bonus, and then True Strike, which gives you more critical hit chance. We take Kill Instinct when on attack damage on low or full life. Okay, effectively, it used to be it'd be on both, but it's changed now. Unfortunately, it's a 30% one, so we're on full life, which is a shame. Then we come up here and get Eternal Youth for life recharges instead of energy shields. So obviously, if I press 1 with my energy shield, with my life, as you can see, it's recharging my energy shield rather than my life. Then we turn left and we take Careful Assassin for reduced critical damage bonus but increased critical hit chance. Again, as I said before, these pair with Throat Seeker, which gives you increased critical damage bonus but reduced critical hit chance. It's entirely up to if you're struggling with critical hit chance, okay, remove Throat Seeker, which will give you a slot to basically increase your critical hit chance. If you're struggling with critical hit damage, remove Careful Assassin and then put it into other places, which gives you critical hit damage. Then we've got Thin Ice, which gives you more build up and then 50% increased damage on hits against frozen enemies. Okay, so if you freeze an enemy, that's a 50% increased damage. We're going for all the increased damage when you've got the elements and stuff. Chaos Inoculation, beautiful, the best thing ever to use. Okay, you're immune to chaos damage, bleeding, puts your life on 1, and yeah, you just generate a lot of energy shields and you should be alright. It's good when you're fighting like the swirling rats and the chaos orbs and stuff like that. You can just stand there and just take it. Obviously, don't stand in front of Zest, will still hurt you. And then we've got Shimmer and Mirage, and then we've got a basement, which is stun recovery, and then a stun threshold equal to 30% of your energy shield. Okay, so these two here pretty much solve the stun problem. It's 5 points, which you could probably use to go down here. Obviously, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here, which gives you more energy shields, and then this gives you more energy shield, and then ailment threshold to 12% of your energy shield, and then 12% again. But it depends, okay? Like, that's good, because that'll give me, what, 58% increased energy shield, okay? So you increase that by 58%, and then you get 12% off that. So it could work out better to take these 5 than it could be to take these up here. But 30% of 5, 6, 7, 7 is currently better than 12% of 5, 6, 7, 7. I'd have to play around with it and see what happens. You might find that I'll come down this side instead for the increased energy shields, because like I said, it'll give me what, probably close to 7,000 energy shields, and it'll give me 12% stun threshold based on that. And then obviously there's energy shield recharge rate, which is increased as well. And you can go into here to get mana regen, all right, and you can go again recharge rate down here. These are all great. This whole like little diamond is amazing, but see which one works for you. Okay, see if this side works or see if this side works. These are easier to get to if you haven't got the skill points, because they're there. Obviously these are harder to get to because you need to go around this point here. Then we've got From Nothing Diamond, which gives you Swift Claw, Tough Claw and Sharpened Claw, which is basically a 75% increased damage. This jewel here gives me critical hit chance, attack damage, elemental damage and stun threshold, or element ail threshold. I'll come up here and get Patient Barrier for maximum energy shield again. Come down here for Overflowing Power, which gives you 2 to maximum power charges, and it's a 20% critical damage bonus per 1, so again 60% over here. And then that's the duration, okay, so that's a 40% increased duration. So there's 80% increased critical damage if you consumed a power charge. We've already mentioned Throat Seeker. Quarterstaff, so we've took Whirling Assault for increased attack speed, and then one with a River for defenses build up, freeze build up, stun build up, you name it. And then Martial Artistry for attack rating and accuracy rating and critical damage bonus. And then finally one with a Storm, which gives you consumes power charges counted an additional charge as well. Not too sure how that works. Not sure if it's just a waste of time, but I've always had it on and it's always done good damage as the Quarterstaff, so I'll probably keep it on. Then we've got the Sapphire, which gives me chaos damage, but I've got it mainly for the energy shield, crit chance, and critical hit chance for spells. I could probably remove this. I probably will remove it once I like get some more skill points, because my plan is to go down here. Once I get to around about 95, go down this side, or even go up into here to get some more damages. But with Anointed Subterfuge Mask, as I said before, this is for the evasion. If you've got high evasion and energy shield chest, I would recommend anointing First Approach, which gives you critical hit chance and damage on enemies that are full life. So you could either come round this way if you've got skill points and anoint these down here, or you can come down this way and get these here, which is again critical damage bonus, physical damage, and there's loads of physical damage bonuses here. I also was running this anointed, and then I had preemptive strike, so I had a 100% critical damage bonus against enemies at full life, plus a 50% critical hit chance against enemies at full life, 80% increased damage with hits against enemies at full life. Okay, so I had a 100% critical damage bonus, plus an 80% increased damage, plus a 50% increased hit chance on full life. So Flicker was doing like stupid amounts of damage, but I was squishy. Okay, so it was just like a pure glass cannon build. Then we take Heart Stopping, Struck Through, and Heartbreaking. These are all for critical damage and critical hit chance. And then down here to finally get Coming Calamity for Herald of Ice, Herald of Ash, and Herald of Thunder. 50% increased damage on each one. This is very, very good. You remove this and it lowers a lot of damage. If you are struggling with mana, I would look at maybe coming down into this side here and then getting Siphon, which gives you 2% mana on kill, or try and find some rings that give you more mana regen or mana leech. If you have an abundance of skill points, I genuinely would take Essence of the Storm to give you more lightning damage, and Essence of the Mountain to give you more cold damage and more freeze build up. You give more chance to shock, more chance to freeze, which means there's more likely chance for these to proc. Okay, the more they proc, the more the screen clears. That's just how it works. Anyway, this has been Monk Build 2.5. Not sure when Monk Build 3 will be out. Probably pretty soon with the way I keep changing stuff around. If you like the video, like I said, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for 1,200 subscribers. I couldn't have done this without your support. Stay safe. Peace.